in terms of my approach, I'm perhaps a little bit abnormal in terms of my background and some of the context and understanding that I might have, but everybody's coming from the same perspective, which is let's get this client what they need, no more, no less, and help them achieve their goals.
Welcome to this episode of the CPMT Podcast. I'm Kayla Chen, and I'm here with Jacob Rich, one of the newer attorneys at our firm. We're so happy to have Jacob.
Hello.
Welcome. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. We're going to talk today a little bit about the Corporate Transparency Act, which is something that's coming up and on a lot of people's minds. Just generally, who it applies to and what's going on.
Before we start, I have a joke.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Corporate transparency joke.
Yeah, go for it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Exactly. That is the joke. This is the Corporate Transparency Act. It goes into effect on January 1st of 2024, and it impacts closely held businesses quite substantially in ways that Kayla perhaps can expound upon.
Well, and the name Corporate Transparency Act, it makes it sound like it's for, the big guys, the big corporations out there. No, it's not. It is targeted towards your smaller LLCs, our family-owned businesses, organizations that wouldn't necessarily be concerned based on the title alone should probably, inform themselves because and then the other thing is trusts. So, our firm does a lot of trust and estate planning, and trust-wise, trusts themselves don't need to disclose, but a lot of trusts own the family corporations, the LLCs, and those corporations inside those trust instruments would need to disclose. But what are they going to what do they need to disclose?
Basically, beneficial ownership information is the key to this. So the purpose of the Corporate Transparency Act is to identify and root out money laundering operations, terrorist support operations, things that our government has an interest in having some kind of lead and information on. The challenge is that in order to get that, we have to go overbroad in order to understand the full inner workings of certain shell corporations. We're capturing all LLCs. We're capturing all trust owners of LLCs. And it's a wide picture of who needs to report. The nature of the information is designed to be kept private. We're hopeful. But there will be a system set up sometime early next year, hopefully sooner, that will explain exactly how we report. We'll be reporting identities of ownerships. I think it's 20%?
25.
25%, thank you.
And
addresses, changes in ownership.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Control, substantial control. So, thinking your officers of the corporation, or even people who don't necessarily have the title officer, but are substantially in control of those organizations.
Right. So again, this is designed to be kept confidential, but there is a reporting requirement. So we here at CPMT are available to help support through that reporting process and making sure that we're only reporting what's required and nothing more, but also in a way that protects confidentiality of all of these beneficial owners.
That's right. Now, Jacob mentioned that this goes into effect on January 1, but a big part of the Corporate Transparency Act, and I think a lot of the confusion surrounding it is that actually going to happen? And the answer is maybe. So
right.
There's a lot of deadlines going on that apply to the Corporate Transparency Act. I think it's important for everybody to be ready to go January 1, but the situation is evolving and we're keeping tabs on it. And if you think that your business or the closely held business interests in your trust instruments are going to fall under the Corporate Transparency Act, I encourage you to give us a call because we're monitoring the situation and we can help figure out what you need to be prepared for very soon.
That's the deal.
Yeah. So Jacob is new here at CPMT, and he is, fun fact, my office neighbor. We share a wall. It's a very thin wall.
Yeah,
so
I know far more about Kayla than perhaps she'd like.
I mean, it's fine. Jacob will shout trivia through the wall,
Correct.
And we'll have full-blown discussions. My husband was like, you talk to Jacob a lot during the day, and I was like, well, we basically sit in the same room. So, Jake, I'd love for you to tell our audience and our viewers how you got here.
Okay. Cool. I'll do that. So I actually graduated law school more than 10 years ago, and for most of the time since, I've been running a manufacturing company, which was a closely held business in my family. It was in the manufacture of axle shafts. If you need to know at what temperature metal reaches molten state, feel free to ask, and all of the various operations and machining that need to happen after an axle shaft is forged into form. I'm your guy. We gratefully put the business in a position that it was time for our family to exit that business, and I decided, you know what, I should go back to the law. So I am grateful to be here in particular at CPMT. This firm achieves something that I was always looking for as a business owner. It's a firm that understands what it means to own a business and handles the variety of issues that impact small business owners, closely held business owners. I mean, the size is less important. It's a family business, a closely held business. And when I was on the phone seeking counsel on a given legal issue with outside counsel as the business owner, the range of issues can go from estate planning to a corporate issue to an employment issue to, you name it, vendor problems, any sort of issue that has a legal implication. What I was always looking for is find me one person who can speak on this range of issues and help me through this. And CPMT is that. So I'm thrilled to be here to bring my understanding of what it means to be in the driver's seat of the business and bring that over to the legal services angle and be that opportunity, be that resource for others who are in a similar position.
Well, I think what's really cool about your background, Jake, is that you bring the perspective from the other side. You were the customer. And so you can understand some of those frustration and pain points a little bit differently than some of us who have been in private practice, a little longer, but haven't been in that role before.
100%. I mean, I appreciate that. I think it's important to understand where does legal fit into the whole range of issues that a business owner is facing. They reach out to an attorney when they need to, but it's rarely the priority. It's an element to support a bigger mission, and it's nice to have a perspective where I understand why the business owner is reaching out to us, where we fit, how we can support them through that mission, and sometimes they don't need us, and they need to know that too. I think for someone coming from a perspective where they don't have the legal background, it's hard to parse through what are legal obligations and understand what's urgent and imminent and what's something that really, the risk isn't that high on this and it can wait, or it may never need to be addressed at all. So I'm thrilled to just bring that perspective, and not over lawyer things, just, help get the job done.
I don't know any lawyer who would ever over lawyer a thing.
I don't think we have any here. And I mean, again, that's why I want to be here. So our group, you can tell we share a wall. We share all kinds of things, but primarily I think what we share is values. And what I've found here is that I'm not abnormal in terms of my approach. I'm perhaps a little bit abnormal in terms of my background and some of the context and understanding that I might have, but everybody's coming from the same perspective, which is let's get this client what they need, no more, no less, and help them achieve their goals. So one of the things that I've realized as a business owner and then now returning to the practice of law is that lawyers think in terms of Word documents and how to capture ideas in words. Business owners often think in terms of Excel and how to balance risks and rewards to a given set of actions or set of interrelated variables. So, one of the strengths I think that comes from having run a business and then also being an attorney is being able to fluently go back and forth between these two different mindsets and approaches and help marry an Excel mindset and Excel goals that are numbers driven and results driven on the side of the business owner with the tactics and the strategy that it takes to achieve those things using what lawyers love, which is words. Words, words, words. That's our world. So, I think understanding that business people are operating from a perspective of cost benefit, and the words are just there to get the job done. And lawyers need to understand, how to achieve that cost benefit using the tools that we have available to us.
So I think, my approach in my practice, because I've got a diverse practice area, practice a book here at CPMT. So I do trust and estate planning. I do a fair amount of corporate work. I do some fiduciary litigation. I came from a firm where I was by myself, and so I had to do all the things, and now I get to do all the things. So from my perspective and the way I approach my corporate clients is I want to be a part of the team, and even though I am a fan of words, we love the words, and I do love a Microsoft Word document, but I fully appreciate that sometimes you hit a wall between legal and a business decision. I feel like my job is to give my business owner clients all of the information I have and to help them prioritize from that what is the most important so that they can make the best business decision for their company, for their employees, for their families. And so I think, I bring it all the way up to the end, and then I want to support my clients in making that ultimate decision.
That's right on target. And the other piece of this is that oftentimes as a client, business owner, you have an issue that may touch on a variety of departments within a business that might blend between personal goals and business goals, and the corporation's there as a vehicle to achieve your family's goals at the end of the day. But it's really the family goals that are driving some of the business decisions. Sometimes they're factoring heavily into business decisions. So to find an attorney like Kayla, to find a firm like CPMT that's able to cover that blended range of issues, personal issues, business issues, goals, and how they're all aligned, and be the legal resource to answer all those questions is critically important. There were times in my career as a business owner when I'd have 4 different law firms, and I'm the one that's going between them, pulling targeted information from each one and gathering that and presenting it, for instance, to my parents when they were pushing their personal goals. It's a lot easier if you have a single point of information, single resource that's able to understand fluently all of these different issues and give you that solid support you need and advice that you need to make the business decision or make the personal decision to drive yourselves towards the target that you're pushing for.
Well, and it's funny that Jake mentions that because CPMT was founded with that kind of goal or those kinds of services in mind. Steve and his partners, the Cohen Pollock Merlin, they founded this firm as estate planners with other practice areas that they dabbled in, and then Steve branched into M&A, and he was able to encapsulate everything that his clients needed so that he could be there for them in a fully supportive way. And so I think it's great that our firm is able to still do that today.
Yeah, I mean that's the key point too, is that branching out happened because clients drove it. The client need drives our growth. Mm-hmm. So if there's a need that is moving from estate planning into real estate or from estate planning into corporate or vice versa, that's why we do what we do. Because we understand the close relationship between all of these various elements.
Thank you for watching the CPMT Podcast. I'm Kayla Chen, and if you liked what you saw today, please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on LinkedIn.